You're watching the Sports Central Podcast.
Welcome, everybody, to the Sports Central Podcast. We are joined today by legendary running back, starred at UCLA and with the Jacksonville Jaguars, Maurice Jones-Drew. Thank you for joining us.
Oh, thank you for having me. I'm really excited about this. This is nice. It's been a while since we've worked together.
Exactly. We used to work together at NFL Network. We're not really working. I'm putting you in the hot seat today, though. You ready for it?
Yeah, it's all good. I'm not worried at all.
Let's go back to your days in Westwood. Mm-hmm. How great was it to be not just a football player at UCLA, but to be like the man on campus?
I wish it was like that. That's hard when you had like Trevor Ariza, who was my same class, that was a basketball player, or the softball team and won a championship. Like we were like, I think I might have been like tier 4.
Tier 4 athlete?
I'm telling you, it was crazy.
You're kidding me.
No, so humbling. I think one of the reasons I enjoyed going there was that every day you were against, you were training and working with our team, but on the side you saw like track had like Monique Henderson was there, who was an Olympian, or, these other kids are working their butts off, and it's like, I got to keep getting better because we haven't won anything, it's like every year somebody was winning a national title, right? And so, yeah, for football, it was awesome. Like, it was fun. Yeah, I enjoyed myself. But to go in the dorms and have, like, another Olympian or someone next to you, or seeing them get up and grind in their own way, it was very humbling because you think, like, you're very confident in your abilities, and then you go out there and when I was there, I never beat USC, but, like, the water polo team beat USC every year, and the soccer team won, and softball won, and basketball won, and we'd be the only ones that didn't beat SC that year, so they'd have that over us.
That rivalry is real, USC, UCLA. Yeah. Do you still do you still carry that with you all these years after graduation?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I tell people it's the uniqueness is we all played high school ball together, 1. 2, we had they're 10 minutes away. So we went to the same parties, or we knew some of the same people, so we'd always see each other. And then we have to play a game against each other, right? And so they were really good at the time. I'm not going to say how they were really good or if they did it the right way or kind of that. I'm not going to go into that.
Get those subtle jabs.
Yeah, I'm not going to go into that. You know what I mean? But I do think that during that era, they were probably one of the best teams in college football history. And so to compete against them, and it was fun. But that rivalry is unmatched. Like, my kids ask me about it all the time, and I'm like, we'd go to the same parties. Like, guys talk to the same girls. It was just chaos, right? And so you'd go to, and the best part about being in LA, you go to Hollywood and go to the clubs, and they'd be at the same clubs. Like, it was just craziness. And where the Michigan, Ohio State, you have state lines. Like, there's no state lines. There's literally the 10 freeway.
Yeah.
Right. So that was the only thing that kept us from each other. So. That made that rivalry super. It was nice to see, and I'm glad. Over the last couple of years, UCLA has done really well in that rivalry.
You touched on going to Hollywood, out in Hollywood during those days, and I know them as well. There were no smartphones, and so I feel like the nightlife scene in LA at that time, when you were in your prime for that lifestyle. Yeah. I mean, it was wild, right?
Oh, it was we'd be in the club with Shaq and Kobe, and we'd be in the club with baseball players. And
if you're in the club with Shaq and Kobe, you're not tier 4. You're tier 50.
I wasn't. I didn't say we were in the booths, the VIP booths.
You're they were in the VIP.
Yeah,
you're
we were on the floor.
Population.
Yeah, I was in the general pop. But the funny part about it is LA is such a small city. I mean, it's a big city, but everyone's so close knit. You get in these little groups. A lot of the guys that are linemen were bouncers at these clubs, and that'd be their side gig in the off season. And so I'd go there, and they'd be like, "Oh, go ahead, you're good,
Cut the line.
Yeah, they cut it. We'll get you in, and then you'll be in there, and it'd be Shaq in there, or or we'd be practicing at school, and Baron Davis would show up, and like I said, we were just around so much talent and success. It was okay, I got to figure out, I want to be like him one day. I want to be able to go have bottles or go do this or go do that. So it was definitely, it made you work harder. You know what I mean?
I love that.
So, there was no camera phones there. So there's a lot of things that guys did that they got away with, or, to be honest, the ESPYs, I used to go to ESPYs every year, went to the Grammys, whatever you wanted to do, you just walk in. I didn't have a suit, and just, you'd rent a suit or whatever, and you just go kind of do your thing, and you leave and you go out. So it was nice.
Did you ever get starstruck? I mean, you came from a big city. You came from the Bay Area. But LA is different.
Yeah, I never got starstruck here. I think one of the reasons I went to UCLA, I'm a big track guy. I don't think a lot of people know that. I ran the Junior Olympics as a kid. I ran high school track, went to the state track meet. I remember on my trip pulling up to UCLA and seeing Maurice Green there, right, who at the time had ran like one of the faster times in the 100. And then Marion Jones was there too, which was like my kid crush in track, right? I think every kid had a crush on her at that time. And then hearing the history of track, and then you see Venus and Serena, they're there training, and you see, again, Kobe Bryant's there playing basketball against our basketball team in the off season, the summertime. And so you're seeing all this. You're like, man, like, I want to be a part of this. I want to make sure, I leave my legacy here, kind of like some of the greats that came through. I never was starstruck in that aspect. I think it was more of a respect. The only time I've ever been starstruck was at a Pepsi party at the Super Bowl. I met Barry Sanders for the first time. And then he's like the greatest dude too.
Oh,
he's the
love
greatest.
To hear that.
Oh, he's the greatest dude in the world. And
did you talk to him for a bit?
Oh, for like 2 hours.
Oh my God.
Yeah, and that same party, I met McLovin, which was even crazier.
Wait,
It was like,
from the movie?
Yes, it was the greatest. And then we ended up going hanging out that night. But the highlight of my night was, and you got to think, like I work with Michael Irvin and Deion Sanders and all these greats, and they're all, like I said, they're all great people. I enjoy under hearing their career and how they did things. But to meet Barry Sanders, a guy that walked away from the game the way he wanted to. It was dope to kind of hear his how he thinks about things and how life was, and then how he thought of my game. He was like, oh, I really appreciate your game. I was like, oh, really?
Wow.
That means a lot to me.
What did
right?
that do to, like, did your head just like?
No. I think immediately after that, I went back to Florida and started training. So I make sure my game is at its top. So it was nice.
You're like, I got to do this for Barry. Don't let Barry down.
It's got to be great, man. You get the greats watching. You got to show out. So it was exciting.
Growing up, did you watch Barry? Was that sort of your running back role model?
I really didn't watch football growing up, to be honest.
You're kidding me.
Yeah, it's so funny. I was a rougher kid, right? And my grandfather was like, listen, funny thing is my grandmother put me in like ballet and all this other stuff. And then I
would pay major money to see you in a leotard.
I don't think it was, I think I had the tights on and like t-shirts, but I did a lot. I did that as a kid. And then my grandpa, like I would get in trouble at school because we'd be playing like baseball or something. I'd run through guys, or we'd be playing kickball and I'd get in trouble. He was like, man, maybe we should try this football thing out. So I did flag for a year or two. And then he was like, you ready for tackle? I was like, I don't know. And then I just fell in love with the aggressiveness of the game, like being able to hit someone and, not get in trouble for it was awesome. And I was a defensive player all the way up until I got to high school, where I played running back. But my junior year, I was a all-state safety. I was more of a defensive player than I was until I wasn't. So
do you think the ballet, I didn't know this about you, but do you think that the ballet experience helped you with your footwork?
It helps you with knowing your body. Like, I put all my kids in gymnastics.
Wow.
And so it just helps you, I'll get hit and I'll be able to stay on balance, and things like that. And so it just teaches you more about your body than anything. And I think a lot of kids, I deal with it now with a lot of parents. It's like, have your kids do everything, right? Because everything helps everything at the end of the day. If they play baseball, you have great hand-eye coordination. Basketball's footwork. Football's aggressiveness, and there's skill obviously involved with it. I mean, gymnastics is, body strength and core strength, and being able to control your body at a young age, which pays dividends down the road. Swimming is, I still swim. I was going to tell you, I was going to swim this morning, but I didn't want to, I was going to have to do shampoo.
You got to be fresh for the cameras.
Yeah, I couldn't do all that. But no, so yeah, it was, my grandparents, my mom made me do everything. And then ballet ended up being something that helped me a lot in football. That's
unbelievable. That's a fun fact, an MJD fun fact.
It is a fun fact.
Another fun fact, and you correct me if I'm wrong here, but number 32 in the NFL.
Yeah.
It's a good story behind that.
It's a great story. It's a story of heartbreak, redemption. We
all have that.
You get that in life sometimes. I thought if we're gonna go talk about the story, I thought I played really well in college. I think I had like 20-some plus touchdowns. I broke a couple national records. Like I thought I had a really good year. When we talked to all the scouts, I was like, what is the one concern about me? My agent was like, everyone says they don't know how fast you are. I was like, well, awesome. I was a 10.6 guy in the 100. I can do that. That's easy. So all I have to do is go out there and like show my speed. I ran 4.3 at the combine. I thought I had an awesome combine. I dropped one pass. Eric Bieniemy was the coach. So I was so nervous. Eric Bieniemy was my running back coach, and he was the coach at the combine. I was like, bro, get away from me. But dropped one pass, and then we get to the draft, and it's like this guy goes in front of me, this guy, and all these guys. And I was like, that's terrible, you know? At that point, though, at like 20 years old, I was 20 at the time, too. I don't think I was really young. You don't really understand the business side of it. Now I'm 40, I understand, like, people make mistakes, but they have to pay for them. You know what I mean?
You made them pay. You sure made them pay.
I did my best, but when I got to Jacksonville, I wanted to wear 21. One of the vets had it, Terry Cousins, and he was like, you got to – I think he said something crazy like 100 times my number or 1,000 times my number, something crazy.
He's going to make you pay for the jersey
like
number?
$200,000.
Yeah.
I was like, bro, get away from me. What are we doing? But I do appreciate you, Terry, because you transformed me to go into 32, which gave me a reason to go out there and have that. Every day I came to work, I had that motivation of remembering what it felt like to be in that room waiting on that call. And back then, this wasn't like a Thursday night, Friday night thing. This was like you wake up Saturday at 9 a.m. and then they're going to run off 4 or 5 rounds. We're going to figure out how this works. And I sat in this room from 9 a.m. to like 2 p.m. waiting to get my name called. It was miserable.
So number 32 for the 32 teams that passed on you.
Yeah, even Jacksonville. They passed on me once. They drafted my homie, though. But it was fine.
Who's your homie?
Mercedes Lewis, my guy. Okay, so the backstory on that is in high school, me and Mercedes played in the first ever national high school football game. He was at Long Beach Poly. I was at De La Salle High School. Some people had us number 1. Some people had them number 1. And then obviously we were number 2 or however they did it. But we played. We played at Veterans Stadium. I had to cover him a couple times.
Oh, nice.
I locked him up.
Yeah, you did.
If you ever see him, he knows. I had a little help, but I did my thing. I was locking him up. But we ended up winning that game, and that game I scored 4 touchdowns in that game. And that game kind of put me on the map as a national recruit. Then I went to UCLA. He was already at UCLA playing basketball and football, so we became close friends there. Then we got drafted together, which was awesome because a lot of times you go to these crazy places, you don't know anyone.
Yeah.
We roomed together for the first year, so learning the offense and getting ourselves together was awesome.
Do people recognize you more from your time with Jacksonville or your time as a UCLA Bruin?
It just depends where I am.
You are.
Yeah. I mean, here in LA, I think a lot of people remember me because of high school too.
Oh, wow.
Because we would come down here and play. Like we played Mater Dei, we played Poly, we played a couple other teams down here, Bishop Amat. But then there's that crowd, and then there's the college crowd. And then when you go, different places you play, people remember just because of fantasy football. They remember.
I was just going to say, I had you on my team one year.
There we go.
And you carried me all into the playoffs. I didn't win.
Oh man!
But went to the championship game.
Oh man!
You work at the NFL Network. You play fantasy football.
Yeah.
How much though, as a player, did you love or hate when people were praising you or I needed 1 more yard?
Social media wasn't big when I was playing,
right.
So I got lucky. It's funny. I feel like I'm caught in the middle of 2 worlds. I'm young enough to be supposed to be hip enough to IG and Twitter and X and Threads and all this stuff. But then at the same time, when I played, none of that was around. MySpace was around, and Facebook it was only for college kids, right? And so I didn't have to worry about that. I always wanted to be a part of growing the game of football. And I remember the NFL, it came to us about doing I don't even know what it was called, but it was talking about how fantasy could help grow the game. And so I loved it. I remember we went to Pittsburgh one time. The funniest thing, I forget what year it was. One of the guys was like, I hope you lose. You suck. but give me 2 touchdowns, bro. I got you on my fantasy team, right? And it was like, oh yeah, I suck, huh? Like, all right, what round do you draft me in? But it made the game, it made it more personal. At least I thought it did for players and fans, that like people got to know you a little bit more. Obviously, they counted. There's a little bit more pressure. I know some players like, I don't care about your fantasy team. Like, yeah, I really don't care, but I had my own fantasy team as well, so I cared about mine. You know what I mean? And so like I said, I've always wanted to be about growing the game, and I thought fantasy did a great job during that time.
You still are about growing the game. You do the NFL International broadcast. You've been overseas, as part of the Rams broadcast team, right?
Yeah, I'm going again.
Where are you guys going this year?
Rams are playing the Jaguars in London. The MJD Bowl is international now. Crazy.
The MJD Bowl.
The MJD, you didn't hear about it?
We need merch. We need
Oh,
merch for
man,
this.
listen, I'm trying to get a half Jags and Rams jersey just so I can wear it. We'll see if we can figure that out. Growing up, I was always nervous about traveling because, again, you read stuff, you see stuff, you hear stuff, and then we play in London. And when I remember playing there in 2013, the food was terrible. Like, I lost like 10 pounds. It was terrible. We were there for a week. Couldn't eat. Like, it just was miserable at the time.
Like fish and chips type thing?
No, they just, at the time, I don't know if it was us. They just didn't cook the food all the way through. You know what I mean? Ugh. Yeah, it was a little different.
Pink.
A little bloody, not pink. Like biting into chicken and like blood. It was like the chicken was still running. It was fresh. I don't know. Neither here nor there. The food is delicious now. But 2018, maybe the Rams went there to play the Bengals. I don't remember exactly. That kind of set it off because I did a deal with the NFL to help out with the other international games.
Yeah.
And so I went there, did all this stuff. Stayed like an extra week or 2, which was awesome.
Nice.
Kind of traveled around Europe a little bit on the off day. I was like, I kind of like this a little bit. Needless to say, I've been to like 20 different countries since then, which is crazy.
With the NFL?
With the NFL and by myself. I went to Africa with the NFL, which was awesome to help grow the game there with OC Humanura and what he's doing down there and scouting players and getting the game of football there, which is definitely needed, to next year going to Australia with the Rams, right, and being able to call that game. So the NFL is doing a great job of growing it. And I told them, like, if they want to go to the Polynesian Islands to have a camp, I'm your guy.
You're like, can we go to Bora Bora?
No question. Yeah, I know there's some great players down there that are doing some great stuff. We can get down there and get them going. But like I said, it's growing the game is something I've always been interested in because, again, it's a game that I fell in love with. My kids love it, which is like, that makes the house crazy.
Yeah.
But being in that and then being able to, the game took me from Antioch, California, all the way to, London and South Africa and Ghana and, all over the place. It's been something that's been a very big part in my life. So I try to spread the word to others, but like, hey, you should try this game out. Maybe it helps you out, and to see, the NFL, having the NFL Academy, which my high school played last year in London. So, that was, you probably didn't know that, huh?
No.
I'm going to drop you something, give you some stuff.
Give me some knowledge.
Yeah, so my son is playing at De La Salle.
Where you went to high school.
Where I went to high school.
Deuce.
And Deuce is doing his thing. He was a sophomore last year, and so I worked with Henry Hodgins, who is the head of NFL UK, Nike, and a couple other sponsors to get us to fly from California to London to play.
What an incredible opportunity.
Oh, it was an awesome,
Yeah.
It was a great experience. And you do that with I was able to do that with my son and my family. I was also like to see all the other kids, like a lot of kids on the team I've coached since they've been in the 6th grade. So like to see that and to see their parents experience it, to have that experience, and then to be able to play in the same stadium. They went to an NFL game. All the coaches that I coached were like, I can't believe they pay you to go and do this. I was like, hey, don't tell anyone. Right? It's none of your business. Just enjoy what's going on. But we went to the Vikings-Jets game, which was awesome. The NFL gave us tickets. I was able to commentate there and kind of see what I do for a living. And then we played the NFL Academy, which is another great tool that the NFL has done where they get kids from the age of 16 to 18 and maybe a little bit younger now, but they get them there and they put them in this academy. It's kind of like IMG where they teach them football, and the people that are interested, they were really good. They were a tough opponent. We ended up winning, but it was a good game. And It was fun, and I think they got a great experience. We got a great experience out of it, and hopefully in the next couple of years we can bring them to California and play as well. So trying to grow the game in any way, shape, or form that we can.
Love it. Love it. You know, when you look at the football calendar, I mean, it's pretty much year-round nowadays. Yeah. But I feel like, you know, right now is probably the only time that players kind of hate, when you have to go back to camp.
Yeah. I mean, I love training camp.
You did love training camp.
Because like it was like when you started having, when I was younger, not so much. When I started having kids, like training camp was awesome because it was like you actually get to sleep. You know what I mean? Like you're in your own room, your own bed, you're exhausted. I get to lay down. When I close my eyes, I don't have to worry about things crawling, like putting in my ear, or little fingers touching on me. But also I love training camp because that's where you get to fine tune your skills, right? Like you get to grow as a team. You really get to see, I want to say it was like year 3 or 4 for me. Might have been year 4. We really clicked as a passing game, and we ran like this one concept really good. And it was because of training camp. And ever since then, like even now when I'm coaching high school ball and I'm coaching youth football, and like it's like training camp is where you kind of start to organize your team and figure out where you're going to be at your best and who you're going to be and what your I'm trying to think of the word, like who you are, right, as a team. Are you going to be a physical downhill run team? Are you going to be a passing, horizontal passing team or a vertical passing team? You get all that done in training camp. And so that is like the springboard to get you to go to where you're going to be next. So that's kind of what I get excited about.
I don't know for you. Were you ever a holdout, a contract holdout?
Oh, yeah, for sure. I did hold out.
I mean, so then
why? You asked why? Because I was trying to get this money.
But you have to get the bag.
Hey, listen, I'm not Terry McLaurin's holding out. Not mad at you at all.
I was going to say, because if you're using this time and you're saying this is when the team gels and you figure out the identity of the offense or the defense, whatever, for the guys that hold out, they have to do it, but then they're also missing out on some of those. You're
right. I tell people this all the time. If you don't fight for what you're worth, then what? Then who will, right? And I think a lot of people, you can't look at the numbers because the numbers like, oh, you're making millions. It's based off of where I am as a player, where my stats are, where you see me, where I see myself. I remember when I held out, I want to say I was like, I just led the league in rushing. We literally cut our quarterback week 1. We were playing a bunch of rookies. We were kind of in a, I don't know what the term would be, I guess a rebuild. Mm-hmm. But I was performing at a high level. I was up for the MVP twice, lost to Tom Brady and Aaron Rodgers. I was up for Offensive Player of the Year twice. Like I had like 2 or 3 really good years back to back, and I'd outplayed my contract. And I think if I had underperformed my contract, you had the right to cut me or ask me to take a pay cut.
But you didn't.
But you didn't because I outperformed because I did more than what you thought I was. So now I need to get compensated as such. I know a lot of fans don't understand that, but that's part of the game. I don't ever wish ill will on anyone. I just think that, you know, you have to understand both sides of it. These organizations are making billions of dollars off of these players. And if a player like Terry McLaurin, who has been through multiple quarterbacks for the Commanders, multiple head coaches, GMs, and he's supposed to be you're telling me I'm a glue guy, I'm a staple guy, but my compensation doesn't match that, then I think, you know, we need to address that before I come back out here and play, you know, and only thing that we can do as players is reserve our services, right? Like, hey, we're just not going to play. Some guys do hold-ins. You know, TJ Watt's been one that's done that a couple times, which, hey, you know, that's what you want to do. That's what you want to do. I think that's a little bit more detrimental, though, than because you're there, right? I'm around all my players and teammates, and I'm not going to do anything, right? And then that's a little bit. I think that's. I'd rather just be away.
More of a distraction.
Yeah, it's more of a distraction.
Yeah.
I'd rather just be away and kind of. And I held out for like a month, and when I came back, I was leading the league in rushing, like the first 4 or 5 games, and I broke my foot. It was like I just got landed on wrong, right? And I was literally we were talking contract at the time, so it was like, oh my God. But you know, I don't regret that at all. I think you know, a lot of these young men are learning the side of the business that sucks, right? I've seen like Tom Brady gets cut, right? The Patriots cut Tom Brady. The Colts cut Peyton Manning.
Well, the average career
It's 3 years.
3 years.
And you got to maximize.
People don't realize
Yeah,
that.
you have to maximize your amount of income in 3 years because, again, I tell people this all the time. Like, I majored in football. Like, I went to school and I had good grades and I did all that, but majority of my focus was on being a football player for majority of my life. So when I was done playing football, I was one of the lucky ones where I was able to go on the TV and be able to communicate and articulate things and do things a certain way. But that took time. Like, I've been in TV for going on 11 years now. It's crazy.
You're a veteran.
Crazy.
But when did you realize that was something you'd want to lean into after your playing career?
I didn't.
Did someone tell you, hey,
oh,
you
yeah.
should? Yeah.
I had an English teacher at, it's so funny. So at UCLA, they put you in this remedial English class for all the athletes. And, I was like, bro, I went to Catholic school. Like, I know how to do all this stuff. Most of us did at the time. And the teacher was like, oh, well, you're better here. Do this. Like, I want you to write something and then present it to the class. Hardest thing to do is talk in front of your peers. That's the hardest thing to do. Like, my boys are laughing in the front row, throwing stuff at me, and I'm trying to, like, present this, whatever it was at the time. And she was like, bro, like, you're actually pretty good at this. Yeah. Like, you should think about doing this, as a career after football. And I was like, listen, I'm 19, 18 years old. I'm not thinking about nothing after football right now, I get drafted and my agent was like, hey, you're on the downside of your career now. You've been playing football for 12, 14 years. We're on the backside of it. We need to start working on, the next chapter. So I did the broadcast boot camp, and then I kind of did radio shows. I did Sirius XM. I did a TV show in Jacksonville for a couple of years, which was great. Girls were great reps. I was terrible. I saw some of that old stuff. It was terrible.
Well, no one's good when they're first doing it.
Terrible. It was bad. But
look at you now.
Well, I just think it's reps. It's over time. It's like anything. It's like playing football. You get better over time, and the same with everything else. And so, being able to when I got to the network, I was terrible at it. I almost quit. I was terrible. Then I got with the Rams and calling their games. I were terrible the first couple games. JB Long saved me. He gave me like I was drowning one game. I don't even know if they told you this story.
No.
It was the fourth preseason game in Denver. I think you were on the flight. I did terrible.
We were doing the games together that year.
You were doing the TV. I was doing the radio.
Yes. No one told me.
Amanda didn't tell you?
No.
Oh, that's your bestie. I was drowning. Like,
she's your bestie. She didn't say anything.
I almost quit. That's how bad it was at halftime. I was like, you know what? I'm done. And JB saved me.
He's a good teammate.
Great teammate. He's a great leader. And like I said, it at the end of the day, I kind of got over that hump, and then I started getting better and better and better, and and then it becomes like second nature. You kind of just go with it. But it was the same with football. I wasn't that good in football when I first played. I just run around and hit everybody. I didn't know what I was doing. But then over time, I started to understand and started to get better at it. And then, you hard work. You're starting to put in extra time. Before you got here, I had upstairs. I had on the competitor. I'm trying to watch the competitor. I always watch the competitor, what they're doing.
You guys, well, that's good. It's film study, scouting.
Yeah. What are you talking about? What are we doing today? But always having that there because you just never know when you're going to be able to need something.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah. Going back to the school thing, you had a teacher who saw something in you and gave you that push. I love that you went back to UCLA and you fulfilled a promise to your grandmother, right? No, am I wrong?
You're close. Almost done.
Give it to me.
Almost.
Oh,
I went back.
You're not done yet.
No. I left so early. I left early.
You had a lot of work.
I left after 2 years. I was out of there.
But did you go back?
I did go back.
And did you stay in the dorms?
I did stay in the dorms. I broke my foot. I had a broken foot, so I couldn't do anything.
You're like, I just want to live this life a little bit longer.
I was like, look, I was on like a scooter. It was terrible.
You're a grown man living in the dorms.
At the freshman dorms.
Oh my God.
It wasn't like these weren't like these weren't like the dorms I stayed in. Like I had to have a single dorm, obviously, right? And they were all the way at the top, and that's where they put all their freshmen. A good friend of mine, I met a kid named Jake. He was 18. I'm 28 years old in the dorms, and Jake one day was knocked on my door and was like, "Bro, who are you? What are you doing?" I was like, "Bro,
Do you watch the NFL, Jake?
Nah,
Are you a football fan, Jake?
I was like, Jake, I'm just trying to finish up school, bro. He was like, "Why are you in the dorms?" I was like, "My foot's broken, so I can't drive to and from. I have to, it takes a lot." I was like, to live anywhere else, I just rather live on campus and just scoot everywhere, you know. And I was rehabbing at UCLA anyways.
How far are we from graduating? How many more credits do we need?
You know, that's
you wanna talk about it?
No, we can't, because I really have no idea. I really have no idea. It's a work in progress. You know, part of me is kind of like, Maurice, you're 40 years old at this point. Like, what can we do with that?
Yeah.
But I told my son, if worse comes to worse, he got offered to UCLA, so I'm super excited about that. If he decides to go there, then Dad will go back to school with him and graduate with him.
You're not going to take classes with your son.
No question.
Helicopter parent.
No, he's going to do my work for me. make him really earn. Get it, pay me back for all the stuff.
Oh my God! How great would that be, though?
It would be fun. He's a very smart dude. So I was buddy, like
you sign up for whatever classes he is.
No question.
Do my homework.
Yeah. Do we have tutors? What's going on? I need help. The hardest thing though, when I did go back, it's like college is its own little world.
Yeah.
And people really believe that they can solve like the world's problems at that time,
So young, so hopeful.
So naive. Yeah. And one of the teachers was actually a student with me at UCLA. So like, it's kind of like, like you telling me about the world, but we live in two different worlds, That was the hardest part though, is to be able to have these like discussions with people. Cause I was like, yeah, that's not what the world's like. Like I've seen the world. And again, I was at 28, so the world is completely different for me now at 40 than it was then. But I remember what it was like at 18 too, and it was completely different then. So that was like the hardest part, is being able to write like a 20-page paper and not like tell the truth in it.
Chat GPT.
Well, they didn't have that then.
I know.
Now you can, you can't do that. You can't say those things. You get in trouble for that.
You get in big trouble for that.
Yeah, you can't plagiarize.
And they have software that will scan and say
and find,
yeah. I've heard about stories like that. How much do you wish NIL existed when you were at UCLA, or it did in some way? No,
not. That's what I said. For us, it didn't exist. Maybe a couple of years before me existed at UCLA. I have no idea. I don't know. When I was there, it didn't exist. It definitely existed at USC. That's why they got in trouble. I'm just gonna put that out there for the people. I don't know if I wanted it though.
Come on.
I'm going to be honest with you.
You
because
were a holdout.
But that was when I was playing, getting paid to play. It was a little bit different. The reason being is like we had to go through stuff together, and like those are some of my closest friends or my boys at UCLA. Like,
who are you still tight with?
All of them. Chris Horton, who's the special teams coordinator for the Baltimore Ravens, or Dennis Keys, who was a high school football coach here in LA. Kyle Morgan. Michael Petrie. We have a group chat. There's a bunch of them in there. The Cowan brothers, all tight with all of them. Derek Williams, who went to Bosco, who every year, if Bosco makes the CIF championship versus De La Salle, he wants to have a wager on it. It's all the same. It's the same stuff. But with money, I think LA would have been a completely different experience. But with no money, like we had to like scrounge together like $10 a couple times in the summertime and go to Costco and buy like 100 cup of noodle soups. The sodium was high, but it helped us like get through what we had to get through. You know what I mean? Like, and you go through stuff together, and you're forced to go on. We would go road trips every year where we'd put money together and drive to Vegas or go to San Diego or drive up to Seattle. Like we just did fun stuff together. You know what I mean? And these kids now will never experience that because they'll just hop on a flight. I coach in high school. I have kids that are, at schools that they're getting paid, which is NIL is awesome for them. But like, you're never going to experience that road trip with your homies, where you guys are like, this thing is getting close to E. Like, how much money we got left? Like figuring life out, And I think that's kind of the sad part about it, or being in the dorms with your boys, right? I think those are those are important moments to develop as a young man. Now, would I like some cash? For sure. Like, give me all the money. Like I said, part of me is like, bro, I wish I would have, found somebody that wanted to give me a bag. We wouldn't have struggled as much. It's hard to live in LA as a 19-year-old with no stipend.
Yeah.
Right? Or, the summertime, they give you $2,000 and summer's 3 months. Like, you tell me how much you're paying rent a month. $2,000 is not helping anything. You know what I mean? So we're putting 6 guys in a 2-bedroom to make it work. And so
football players are big bodies too,
and they stink.
They stink.
Some of them are stinky boys.
I'm trying to think of you guys going to Vegas and like crushing a Vegas buffet.
So the truth of the matter is,
You bring like a little doggy bag?
one of my best friends in high school played for UNLV, and so we were supposed to go down just for the weekend. Needless to say, we went down and then we stayed for about 2 weeks. Partly was because we had to figure out a way to get back to LA. The other part was because we didn't want to go back to LA, and down there, just like here, a lot of their football players were the bodyguards of the clubs. So we were in every club. We were having the time of our lives. But that was fun times. We had a great time. We like I said, we drove. I had a buddy that went to Fresno State. We drove to Fresno, hung out there. I had a buddy at Arizona State, went there. Like we just went out. We just drove everywhere. It was awesome. Like. And, again, kids don't do this, but we would put like 10 guys in like a 6-passenger and we'll figure it out. The guys were rotating, driving. You just made it work. You got close with your boys.
Give me your, when we'll wrap it up, but give me your welcome to the NFL moment.
Oh, that's
Because you talk about the struggle as a kid, not with NIL money, small stipends when you're playing in college. You get to the NFL, you're making some money. You're around other guys that are making some money.
Yeah. So I'm not I'm not peer pressure. Those things don't get.
Did you buy something for yourself?
Yeah, I bought like a video game, and I that was
what a nerd.
Yeah, that's what I'm a video game guy. I bought this house. In the house, I had a whole theater that was built just for video gaming. And I would go up there at night and play video games all the time. Like, not really big into cars, not big into jewelry, just video games. I wanted to play video games, and so that's what I did. Luckily enough, that's like one of my vices, so I'm happy, right? But yeah, I think if I was into cars, so I would say my welcome to the NFL moment was more time management than anything. It's very similar to my welcome to the real world moment was time management. Playing football, Donovan Darius hit me in practice one time, and I was like, okay, that's a man. That's not like that's not like a college kid.
Was this a rookie when you were a rookie?
I was a rookie, yeah. I was a rookie. He was probably I think 6 or 7 years in. I had no idea who this dude was.
He let you know.
I spoke to Fred Taylor about him, to be honest. Who are all these guys? And I caught it. I got a draw play, and I kind of made a move, and I was like, I'm about to run this. Because, again, in football, when you go against a DB, you're like, I got to punish him. And we're in a full padded drill. It was live, and I tried to punish him. And he hit me, and it was he hit me on he hit me on my right side. I think he hit me on my right side, and I kind of bounced off, and I finished the run, and I was hooping and hollering, and then my whole left side went numb.
Oh.
And I was like, what is going on? And I didn't practice the rest of practice.
Did you just play it off though? You're
Oh, no. I laid on the ground. I'm dramatic. I was on the ground laid out. But and then it was funny. We ended up playing the Carolina Panthers in preseason, and D'Angelo Williams was like, hey man, so who should I worry about? I was like, yeah, number 20. Cracked me earlier this week. Don't even try to hit. He was like, yeah, our coach told us about him. Needless to say, found his highlight tape at Syracuse. Yeah, he was legit.
You found his highlight tape afterwards? You're like, let me go back to the
Yeah, I was like,
roots.
let me see who this guy is. It was like he was KOing people left and right. So yeah, that was one of my welcome to the NFL moments. It was you learn a lot. You learn about yourself more and more. You go deal with things like that. So it was fun.
Maurice Jones-Drew, you've been spectacular.
Thank you.
So good talking to you, my friend.
Yeah, same here.